Welcome in, everyone, to Spiritual Roots Podcast with me, Misty, where we talk about life, the magical, mundane, and everything in between. Thank you so much for being here. I greatly appreciate it. Today, I have a guest with me, June from Which Way Readings. Kim, known as June on social media, has been clairvoyant, claircognizant, clairaudient, and clairsentient since childhood, having dreams that would come true the next day, down to the smallest details. As she got older, she dabbled into different things to test and use her gifts while continuing to work on her spiritual growth in connection with her guides, spirits, and the divine. Through her business, Which Way Readings, she offers sessions to explore all aspects of life, spirituality, and witchcraft. You can find her at the Which Way Readings Covenstead, located in Lebanon, New Hampshire, where she holds sessions, hosts parties, events, and various gatherings, offering a safe space for others in the community to learn, worship, and practice. Welcome in, June. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I love this little vibe you've got.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so happy Danny connected us, my friend Danny. So grateful for that. Shout out to her. Thank you so much, friend.
Hi, Danny.
So what's going on?
How
are you?
I am good. Thank you. I'm loving the spring energy and soaking up all of that transitional movement and all the good things. Don't have to shovel snow, so we're doing good.
Yes. It's coming alive and I love it.
Yes.
Every morning, like clockwork, we have an Eastern Phoebe that calls at like 5:45, 5:50 every morning without fail.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
A little natural alarm clock, and then the rest of the birds join in the chorus shortly after. It's wild. They start it, and then everybody joins in, and it's like that probably for the next hour or so until I go to work. That's awesome. I love it. Anyway, enough about my yard. Sorry about that. Let's get into some questions, because I want to know your story a little bit. So what spiritual roots brought you to where you are right now?
Well, I have been intrigued by spirits, witchcraft, since childhood. But I did have one side of my family who was very Catholic. So, my cousins and I were brought to church often. And that was always kind of a scary experience for me. I just felt very on edge. And as I got a little older, kind of approaching preteen age, I started to branch out a little bit and look into various spiritual practices. And I found a sense of peace and belonging that I had not found before. So ever since then, I've just tried to learn as much as possible.
Yeah, I love that so much. I'm going to skip around the questions a little bit. Were there any books that got you into into witchcraft or spirituality? How did you know that you were, how did you get into your clairs a little more? How did you learn about that?
So not necessarily, I can't pinpoint a book from my younger years, because I kind of just grabbed whatever I could find. But as a child, my grandmother would play these games, she called them, with me. And as an older person, now I look back and know that she was helping me dig into my intuition. And they have a very large yard. And she would hide little things somewhere outside and tell me to go find them. And I would just kind of wander around and I would always find the thing. And just little things like that. So not necessarily a book when I was younger, but nowadays, if I am trying to point someone in the direction of a book and they are interested in paganism or spirituality, witchcraft, there's a really great book called The Modern Guide to Witchcraft by Skye Alexander. And it has a very, very expansive list of different spiritual practices, witchcraft, things like that. And it's a great tool to kind of look at it as a bigger picture and then be able to decide what things interest you more than others. So I think that book is really great for anyone in the spiritual world.
Yeah, getting kicked off or like kicking it off for themselves or diving deeper. I assume it maybe is for all levels of folks. General?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
love
it's
that.
very like basic, lets you kind of know about what options are out there. I mean, it's
Yeah,
such a broad subject that if you don't have some type of direction, you're going to get
yeah,
lost very easily. So, yeah, I always
absolutely.
recommend that book.
Oh my goodness, it's so easy to get overwhelmed. We say this all the time, especially when I have guests on. We're talking about the craft of any kind. It's so easy to go down. I call them wormholes because they take you everywhere, man. And it's so easy to just get overwhelmed or bogged down because
Yes.
you're like, I can't read all the books all at the same time, or search one topic. I want them all. I love that your Graham had you play little. Were these like little intuitive games?
Yeah, I didn't know that they were that when I
I
was a
love
child,
this.
but yeah, she like secretly did her little thing and she would do things that now looking back on them, um, they were little intuitive like exercises. So and she actually inspired she's not with us any longer, but she inspired my social media name. Her name was Constance June. So
Yeah.
I took
Oh,
June and I cut Constance in half, so June stamps. Um, just my little shout out to her because without her guidance or like secret little tests, I don't know that I would have um, realized what I could do when I was a younger kid. I think it would have been scarier without her.
yeah. That's amazing. Is your Graham from here? Like, did she grow up in the States or did she come from somewhere else? Like, what was her heritage a little bit where she would know to kind of play these little games with you? Because this is very interesting. I love this.
So she grew up actually about a quarter of a mile away from where I live. It was her family farm, and then she moved right up the hill. So we all have our houses like within a quarter
Oh,
mile of
that's
each other.
amazing.
Her family was someone who, as farmers, they were not rich by any means. So
Yeah.
they did a lot of kind of herbal things and more holistic practices, things like that. She always gave us these little rhymes and things about different aspects of life, I guess. And kind of looking back at them, they are a little bit more pagan practice kind of origins.
Hmm.
Um, she was very like low key about it, but
Yeah.
she was always like so very informative. Yeah, I think it's just something that kind of was passed down to her. And all the women in her side of the family were very in tune with things. Um, so yeah, I never got to meet my great grandmother, but I know that she was the one that kind of instilled it in all of her daughters. So that's kind of where her stuff came from. And actually,
That's
not long ago,
awesome.
I was going through books at my grandfather's house, and I found a little like how to do tarot book, and
No way.
she had a little note in there with like with her spread that she had drawn for herself and stuff, and it was like tucked in there, and I was like, oh my God, this is such a treasure to have.
What a gift. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh, June,
I
that's
had no idea.
amazing.
Yeah,
Have you used the spread? Have you used it?
I haven't because I'm waiting. My sister and I want to kind of dive into it
Mm,
together.
yeah.
That way we can kind of be together when we do it. But um, I am so intrigued by finding this from her because she was always
Yeah.
playing with cards when we were younger, and we'd say, "Oh, can we play?" And she'd say like, "Oh no, this is like a solo game or something." So now I'm wondering if like back then she was pulling cards for herself, and I just thought she was playing like
Absolutely.
solitaire.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
What a find.
right?
Oh man. So lucky that you found that. That is so cool.
Yeah.
And for you and your sister to want to do that together, that's amazing. So great. I love that. Well, what about your own abilities? You do you do readings for people, like mediumship readings? Do you
I
offer
do.
those
Yep.
up? Can you go into a little bit like how you discovered your abilities and let's just open up that conversation a little bit.
Yeah,
When
for
did it
sure.
start for you?
So when I was a kid, we grew up in a very old house. It was built in like the 1700s. and we had spirits there, and there was one lady that I would always see, and like my sisters would see her, um, and that just kind of made me so interested. Like, what is this lady doing here? Like, I, um, so as a kid, I kind of looked into more of the like pop culture type of references, right? Because I'm not
Yeah.
going out buying books by myself. Um, but so that intrigued me. And then when I would give people readings with cards, um, sometimes a loved one would pop in and I would share the message. Um, and it wasn't something I was expecting at all, but it just started to come more naturally the more I kind of dove into it. Um, so then I started to kind of build that part of myself more. Um, and it's just kind of a part of any type of divination I do. If someone has a message, they're just going to come on in
Yeah.
and share that. So yeah, that's why I started doing kind of mediumship in addition to like card readings and that type of stuff. I really just love being able to connect people with their loved ones or spirit um, in a way that they maybe have not been connected before. So
Yeah.
that's really rewarding for me.
Yeah. It can be very healing to
Mm,
connect people back with their loved ones, very much so.
yes.
When did you start doing it? Do you do this full time?
Yes.
The readings? Yeah.
Yes.
When did you decide that you were going to go full time with this gig?
Uh, well, 2020, when the world fell apart,
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Like, what else am I doing? So, I just started kind of putting myself out there online and built my business that way. At first, I did not offer any like in-person sessions or anything like
Hmm.
that because I was still very apprehensive, on how I would be received by the community, given that
Yeah.
like I'm a witch. Um, so I kept it really low key. I do have small children, so I don't want people to discriminate against them because of what I do. So
Yeah.
it took me a few years before I started to kind of like put myself out there in the Upper Valley. Um, but yeah, so I started in 2020 and where I did primarily online readings for people um, in different states, different countries. And then I got to the point where I didn't want to limit myself anymore.
Yeah.
So I just started like putting my business cards out places and I've found such a great community in doing that. So I really appreciate how I've been received so far by the Upper Valley.
Yeah, I think our community here is growing and it's very accepting. And I want to say it's still a bit underground because sometimes when you see like events pop up, you're like, wow, I never even knew that this was around here.
Hmm.
You know? We always had to go far away to like Massachusetts or something. And I'm so happy that things are starting to come around up here and people are more open and more accepting or even intrigued if they're not practicing at all, any type of spirituality. Sometimes they just want to go in and learn about it, whether they take that and run or whatever. But I do find that people are more open these days, and that's something that's very positive.
Yeah, absolutely. I come across a lot of people, you saw them in the grocery store, you wouldn't assume that they were
Right.
interested in this path, but I love that. I love bringing in like everybody and learn what you want to learn. That's what we're here for.
Yes, most definitely. Were there any obstacles that you came across that were unexpected to you?
I think the unexpected obstacle would be how flooded the information pools are
Mm,
and kind of deciphering what is a reliable source from just misinformation, really.
yeah. Hmm.
So I think when I first started kind of putting myself out there, that was the biggest obstacle is just finding like good, reliable people and sources and um, like-minded community that doesn't assume when I say witch that I'm talking about Harry Potter or something like
Right,
that, you
yeah.
know? I'm not pretending I'm flying around on a broom. it's way different than that. So that's kind of an obstacle, is just changing people's perception of what they think that I think a witch is,
Yeah.
versus what I identify as a witch for myself. So yeah, not huge obstacles, but just a little finagling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some people can be, I don't want to say judgmental, but like you said, maybe they grew up a certain way and they have a certain vision of a witch. And I say that in quotation marks for folks who can't see us. They just have a different perception. And then once they have a conversation with one of us, we all practice differently. Like I'm very nature based,
Hmm.
in my practice. And some people are, they're into like blood magic, they're into whatever.
Hmm.
Um, I think it's just getting the knowledge out to people so that they can experience all these things and maybe get a different perspective, so that we can educate people. That's partly why I did this podcast, to get people's stories, get other people's stories out there, like yours, like like Danny's story, my friend Dawn, my friend Kristen, all of the women I've had on, Jeremy, his story and his healing process and how he got into spirituality. Like that's how I started this, so that we can get our voices out there and educate people. And like I said before, whether they take that and run or they're just like, oh, maybe it's not as scary as I thought it was, and they're just human like I am. They just
Exactly.
have a
Yeah,
different way of practicing their spiritual way of doing things.
exactly. And I am along the same lines. I am very heavily nature based in my practice, and it can be a little jarring or off putting when someone's first question to me is, do you worship the devil or something like
Yeah.
that? And I'm like, that has literally nothing to do with what I'm doing.
Yes.
Like, so yeah, I completely agree. It's important to hear other people's stories and listen to kind of their history with it to hopefully just educate some people.
Yeah.
Like you said, in this area, it's hard to feel safe sometimes looking
Yes.
into witchcraft when you have
Hmm.
no idea where to go. So I think your podcast is fantastic at kind of shining some light on that and our little community.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I want to promote the Upper Valley because we're small, but we're mighty up here. And there's a lot of good vibes. There really is. Like, we have a lot of great energy up here. The land is just, it's just alive up here, I feel like. We have a lot
Mhm.
of granite in our grounds up here. That puts off a lot of energy. Water. I have a lot of water around my property. We have a lot of water here in the Upper Valley. Lakes,
Mhm.
streams, rivers, brooks. We just have
Mhm.
a lot of energy here, is what I feel like.
Absolutely.
Um, I don't remember where I was going with that. I kind of went off on a tangent. I'm so sorry. But
Don't
that's
apologize.
sorry, everybody. But I mean, that's our community up here, and that's why I want to shout them out so much and get local folks on here, but other people too. And I appreciate you saying that very much. Thank you so much. Um,
Yes.
but let's talk about some of your events a little bit. I want to hear a little bit more about Which Way readings. When did you start? You said 2020, so we got that. When did you have one of your first events, and what was it? Do you remember when you opened up officially?
Um, my first events in my space, I think the first one I did was for, I think it was for Yule. Um, and I like to start out with kind of history of the celebration, the Sabbath, whatever it may be, um, to give people a bit of insight of where these practices come from and like why you're doing these things. Because if you're just practicing without the knowledge of its origins, then how can you truly like grasp what you're doing? Um, so I like to start out with a little history about things, and then we usually do some type of like craft for the holiday. So for Yule, we make Yule logs. Um, and then we do a little bit of divination with everybody at the end. So
Love it.
everybody gets to kind of call in their spirits and see what information they have for us.
Oh,
Um,
that's beautiful.
yeah, it's a little bit of education and fun and magic all wrapped in one night.
That's a perfect little package, I must say, June.
You.
Education. I love learning stuff, and you get to do some crafting and be with community, and I think that's wonderful. So I have to shout out everybody because I'm not recording video, but June is in an ice fishing house, right? That you converted into your little space. Let's
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit. Where did you? I followed her journey, everybody. It's so wonderful. How did you procure this fishing vessel, this fishing hut, and where did you get your idea? Like, how did this come to be? I love this.
So
I love this idea so much.
thank you. Um, I've always wanted my own space. That way I can kind of bring everybody in a place that I'm comfortable in and hopefully create a place that they're comfortable in as well. Um, so I did a lot of looking on Facebook Marketplace for like
Yep.
a little building type of thing. And I came across this after a few months of searching. Um, so I roped my brother into driving 45 minutes away to tow it home. And when I got it, it was just a complete mess, as you
I
know,
did
because you
see.
saw.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you're interested, I have plenty of videos of what it looked like, and it was horrible. So it didn't have interior walls or a ceiling or anything like that. And I just stripped it down to what it was. Well, it was already pretty stripped down, but I took the rest of it out, cleaned it all up, um, lots of bleach, and then I just started building it back up. I spent many, many nights on Pinterest just getting inspiration. And I really wanted to bring in elements that are connected with spirituality, magic. So piece by piece, I started building my little space. I absolutely love cedar, so it is everywhere. And I used copper, which is
Mm-hmm.
spiritual, what is the word I'm thinking of? Conduit. So I kind of pieced it all together, and I wanted it to feel like a little witch house because that's what I am. So I have a lot of pieces that I've collected over the course of my life because I was like a little old lady as a child buying
I
tiny
love it.
figurines
Yes.
and stuff at the Yankee Barn. For those of you who have been in the Upper Valley, the Yankee Barn is no longer with us,
No
but it will forever
longer.
be in my heart.
Yeah.
Um,
Sad.
yeah. So yeah, I just really wanted to create a space that was warm and welcoming and witchy, but not too witchy for people who maybe aren't on the witchy side,
Yeah.
which is fine. So I think that I've created a place that is comfortable and inviting and lots of fun just to join together and learn.
Yeah. It's very bright in there. It looks very welcoming.
Thank
It's
you. This was the
beautiful.
second paint color. The first one was like a dark gray and it looked like a dungeon in here. So had to go with a lighter color. It was intense. Yeah.
I think you went with the right choice. It
Thank
looks
you.
really nice and bright in there. It looks beautiful.
Thank you.
If you were to give anyone some advice about going deeper into their practice, what would you give them?
I would tell people to follow the things that already interest you. So if there's something that you've been drawn to, don't be afraid to explore it because what's the worst that's going to happen? You're just not going to feel connected with that path and then you move on to the next thing. And that's
Mm-hmm.
completely fine. And just don't worry about what everybody else is interested in or where they are in their journey. Just focus on your own path and don't put pressure on yourself to learn everything immediately. I think a lot of times people kind of come into a spiritual journey and they want to get to the end as quickly as possible. So they're
Yeah.
at whatever level they want to see themselves at. And rushing your journey is really just doing a disservice to yourself, because you're not going to appreciate the struggle to kind of, carve out your path. Just, I find that a lot of people are hesitant to like change themselves in some way.
Yeah.
Imposter syndrome is a big thing. So just remember that who you were does not have to dictate who you can be. Just
Yeah.
kind of find a path that works for you. And if it feels authentic to you, then that is what you should do. Don't try to force yourself into anything to please other people.
Yeah. Because it, like you said, a disservice to yourself, but it won't be fulfilling. I think
Exactly.
you'd feel like you're stuck because you feel like you're not going anywhere. Well, it's because you're not following your heart necessarily. Maybe you're following other influences. I think that's
Exactly.
great advice. Yeah.
Yeah. Spirituality is like deeply personal. So
Yes.
do with what
Very
you
much
feel
so.
drawn to. Yeah.
Yeah. If it starts with putting your feet in the grass and you go from there and walk around and find a tree, maybe that's where you start.
Exactly. Yeah. Just go with it.
Yes, exactly. Getting in touch with the land if that's where you're called. You know.
Yes.
Um, you get yourself an outdoor altar. I'm going to start one of those. I'm already picked out my space. I've cleaned it up a little bit. I've never done an outdoor altar. I can't wait.
I love that.
I
I
know.
have several.
Do
I
you?
I kind of go all out with my altars. I have them everywhere.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
it.
I
Can
love
you tell us
outdoor
about one of
altars.
them? I love it if
Sure.
you're open to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. So I have one that is the first one that I created for outside, is at the foot of the biggest oak tree on my property.
Mm,
I work with Hecate, and I created an altar there for her. It's where I go to leave any offerings. Um, it's at the edge of my lawn in my woods, so it's a
yeah.
liminal space.
Yeah.
Um, so I just kind of adorn it with things that I know she would appreciate, as well as things that make me feel closer to her. And it's a very sacred space for me. I can feel her presence there, so that is what
Yeah.
I love most.
It's there. That sounds amazing. It's so magical. I love that so much. Yeah, that's altars are very personal to people. That's why, I always ask if you're willing to share, because some people don't want to, and that's cool. But I love that you have that for her on your own land under the big oak tree. That's wonderful. Oh, I love
Yeah.
that so much. I don't know if I'm going to dedicate mine to anyone as of yet. I think I'm going to let it lead me.
I love that.
Just let
I
it
also
lead me.
have ones that don't really have a pointed purpose, just more of like my spiritual plays. So I
Yeah.
totally love that.
Yeah, where you sit and think or meditate or just put your feet on the ground for a minute just to get grounded.
Like,
I love this so much. So, June, what do you have coming up for any events? Let's get that out to the
so
peeps.
I did have an event last night. My next one is, I believe the date is June 19th. And we
Okay.
will be celebrating the summer solstice.
Love. My
So
favorite. Oh, my favorite.
lots of energy, and I have a little stone circle, ritual circle in my woods next to the covenstead here. So we'll go out and circle around and raise our energies, do some little crafts and
Mm,
things like that. And like I said, dive into the history of it and see where it takes us. I
I may
love
have to
calling
come
in
to
the spirits
this.
of everyone. Yes, please
Yeah.
do.
I have that day off, so I may have to show up. I
Oh
would
my God,
love that so much. I
I
would
would
love that so
absolutely love
much.
that. Yeah.
It was for Beltane, right? This celebration yesterday? Your event
Yeah, it
yesterday?
was. Yeah.
Let's walk through it a little bit if you don't mind. I want
Yeah,
people
no
to
problem.
understand, like, where we're going when we arrive at
What we're
June's
doing.
place.
Uh, love that. Um, so I always start, everybody kind of comes in and settles, and then I do a little energy cleanse for everybody.
Hmm.
That way we're all in a good mindset, ready to go. We're not carrying anybody else's energy with us. And then we do a little go around the circle to introduce yourself to anybody who hasn't been here before. And then after that, we did some crafting. So we created some little spell bottles for manifestation. So that was really fun. And then everybody created their own set of Beltane runes. So
love this.
We did that. We created I had a little chart of 13 symbols to use, and you could use those or use your own to represent your purpose for that rune. And everybody really loved that. It was a lot of laughs. Drawing skills were varying, so it was a lot of fun. And then we cast our runes, we asked some questions, and then we switched into doing some spell work. And we kind of ended the night with a little fire, and everybody was able to toss their spell pouch into the fire and bring about all of our manifestation. And then we just kind of close this. Yeah, we just kind of close out with a little chat and send everybody on their way with their little goodie bags to celebrate on the actual holiday. I like to plan it a few days ahead. That way people can kind of do their own thing with the knowledge of what they're celebrating. So yeah, we did 2 different spells. We did one that we started here, and then everyone will finish on their own on Beltane. And then we did the full spell for manifestation while we were all here. So it was a lot of fun.
That's amazing. What a beautiful ritual you created. Oh my God, I love this so much. I love that this is right here in the UV, man. I love this so much. Yes. Oh, thank you for creating such a space. We're growing, and I love it.
Yes, that's what I tell everyone. I'm so happy to keep building this community.
Yeah. We have Faze in Lebanon. Faye's Apothecary, her little shop over there. We have June that's offering events. I love this so much, truly. I love having stuff close to home now. This is so great. Because sometimes you don't want to practice by yourself. I'm very solitary, but sometimes I want to be with people.
Yeah, it's great when you want to really raise the energy.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's so amazing. I recently went to it was like a sound bath drum circle combined. So first we started with the drum circle, never done that before. Wow. Just wow. We howled at the moon. It was amazing, the energy that was raised. So community like this, people getting together and just being and it's palpable. It was really is. It was, I loved it. I left there so high on energy and adrenaline. It's like, who needs anything else, to be honest? I don't need coffee. I'll just go to a drum circle all the time.
Right? I love that. That's what we all say. We're like, wow, I don't even feel tired.
Yeah. You're like ready to go. You know what I mean? But I love that. Thank you so much. That's so awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So let's get into some dates. So you have the 19th coming up. Do you have anything further for the summer? Like anything for a Lamaze or anything like that?
I will be doing I don't have anything scheduled yet.
Okay.
But yes, I do something for all of the Sabbats. I post them on my website under events. So if anyone is looking for it, that's where it is. I also send out emails to people who want to know what's coming up. That way they kind of get a heads up of, this is what I'm doing. If you would like a spot, join. So yeah, June 19th is the only day. Yeah. Yeah. So, you can find everything on my website, whichwayreadings.com. But yeah, and also my socials, but, it's always a lot of fun. There are limited spaces just because my space is not gigantic, but yeah, it's a good solid group of people.
Fantastic. I look forward to coming to see you.
Yes, I would love that so much.
Maybe I can drag my friends along.
Right?
See if they're available that night.
right?
I love this so much, June. Thank you so much for coming on. This has been fantastic. Truly.
Thank you. I really
So much
enjoyed
fun.
myself.
Thank you, Danny, again for hooking us up.
Yes,
Appreciate you. She's so funny. Well, thank you so much, June.
Thank you for inviting me. I really loved it and I appreciate the time.
Take care.
Yes, you too.
Thanks for coming along for the ride, travelers. If you're enjoying the show, please share, like, or leave a review wherever you listen to your podcast. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, or come join me over on Patreon. You can also find me on Buy Me a Coffee. If you have ideas for the show or would like to say hello, you can email me at spiritualrootspodcast@gmail.com. Please keep sharing the show so we can keep finding our spiritual roots together.